Alrighty. Hey everyone, this is Patricio here from Abstract, here again with yet another podcast for the Abstract. I guess we're calling it webinar series. We'll probably change this up to just be podcasts. But anyways, today I have a really dear friend of mine that I always joke around and I say I've known him for much too long, quite literally since I was in kindergarten. But Matt is joining me here today. He's one of my co-founders and leads out product at Abstract. But yeah, we're gonna talk about a lot of great things today around design, UI UX, sort of what we've seen in the government legal tech industry and how sort of design has looked like and where it's going, and the role of AI throughout all of this. So before I dive into it, Matt, if you want to do a quick intro, I know I already did a high level intro, but if you want to add anything about sort of what you do here at Abstract.
Yeah, hey, great to be here. I lead our product efforts, and I'm also a co-founder of Abstract.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, do you want to share a little story of how we got to know each other and start this?
Yeah, I mean, when we met goes back an extremely long amount of time, right? Like close to 2 decades. I think we met in elementary school, and we've been friends all throughout. And when we were both in college, we were like, this seems like a really great opportunity for us to get involved in both tech, but also the intersection of that and government. So this is a really exciting field for us to sort of apply our efforts. And, that's kind of brought us to where we are now.
Yeah, and actually, I feel like we haven't talked about this much, but what kind of drew you to this, other than me asking you to help with design early on in 2020, actually 2019? Where is your passion sort of stem for what we're building and what we're doing?
Yeah, well, I think the startup industry has always been something that's been extremely exciting for me. So much innovation within the past 10 years has honestly mostly stemmed from the startup industry. The entire structure of how those companies are funded is the reason why we have such advanced technology available to consumers en masse today. And I really wanted to be a part of that movement and help drive things forward.
Got it. And in terms of like government, I mean, I feel like we were really passionate about trying to push forward the sense of like accessibility, right? Making bills more accessible. But yeah, I was wondering if you had any sort of thoughts on that vision and how do you see that clicking in with what we're doing now in terms of accessibility of government data?
Right. So that's at the core of the mission of Abstract, is to make this complex data accessible, easy to read, easy to understand for the everyday person. I think when we first started this, one of the first bills that we looked at, which was the Green New Deal that was introduced by AOC a couple of years ago, was so many pages long. It was hundreds of pages, thousands of pages. And, you flip to any part of that bill, you read a paragraph, it doesn't sound like a human wrote it, right? It's honestly as complex as a programming language. And so what we really wanted to do was, how can we take something as verbose and as intense as a document like that and translate it to something that the everyday person can just really understand and know how this affects them.
Yeah, and staying true to the theme of this podcast today, that was sort of the past, right? That's how we started off with that Green New Deal bill, and we initially, when we don't talk about it too much, but I don't know if you remember, the idea was like make a social network, right? We wanted to connect consumers around sort of bills and regulations and allow them to comment on that. That idea quickly died, absolutely. Very tough making a consumer app in this space, at least from the get-go. But then what happened was we started talking with chambers of commerce, trade associations, lobbying firms, and we ended up making a bill tracking tool that was really focused on collaboration and sort of robust reports. And we ended up, focusing on the lobbying and trade association sort of advocacy industry here in California. So that's sort of where we focused our efforts on for the past couple of years. So wondering if there's any insights on the sort of product designed UI side of things that you learned working with these lobbyists over the past couple of years, and then we'll touch in a bit on sort of what we're doing in the future with enterprise. Yeah.
Definitely. I think over the past couple of years, we've built out what we call the Abstract California product. It's a bill tracking system and report generation platform for bills and legislation in California. And what we've noticed working with our users every single day has been, no matter how fast you are at providing these updates, you can always be faster, and that's something that we've been working at towards. We constantly are trying to improve the rate at which our data is uploaded. We're trying to do everything we can to beat the legislature in terms of providing these updates to our customers, because time is money, and especially in the lobbying industry, the rapidness at which you receive these updates is so key to the work that you do every day. And so that's a huge focus of ours, is being able to have these updates and provide this data very quickly. We also really focus on just that core mission, making this easy to understand, easy to read. Lobbyists are experts in their fields, and they know exactly what they need to care about. They know exactly how to read a bill and how to skim through it. But there are things that we can do on that UI UX element where we can make and highlight specific information that they actually might find useful. Bills, no matter how effective you are at reading a 300-page bill document, it's still a 300-page bill document at the end of the day. So what we could do is maybe pull out a couple of lines of text that might be more useful to you and relevant. We can take out things like bill keys and location and add that to your calendar if there's a committee hearing being scheduled for it. What we can do is try to just help you with making your workflow as a lobbyist more efficient. And then at the end of that, being able to create reports as quickly as possible. So what we can do is take all of the bills that you currently as a lobbyist are tracking, are tagging, are following along, and we'll create reports based off of those filters that you've given us, whether that's specific keywords or bills that you are tagging for a specific client, so on and so forth.
Got it. And when you were like on the design side, putting your head of product sort of hat on, like, did you go to their offices? Like, how did you learn, how to streamline this workflow, right? Because it's something that hasn't really changed for over 2 decades, right? So how did you develop like the product, the design around that?
Absolutely. A core belief that we have within the product team is product is customers and customers are product. We as a product team are building a product for a very specific customer in mind, and we, because of that belief, have conversations and are on calls with our users and with these lobbyists every single day. We constantly are shadowing them. Sometimes when they'll let us, we'll sit in the back of their offices and watch what they do and just really try to understand their workflow and try to do everything we can to make their lives easier. I think within Abstract have taken our product team and our customer support team and sort of mashed that together. So any of the feedback that we get from our customers using our product directly has a line straight into our product roadmap and directly to the engineers that then build the product. We do not like that bureaucratic layer where essentially you have feedback come in and you have to filter it and you have to tag it and you have to label it to the right person and then you assign it to a project manager and that eventually gets built. That's not what we do at Abstract. What we do is when a feedback line item comes in, that goes straight into our roadmap, and we try to address that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and for any founders or people in the startup space listening to this, that's something that, again, the flavor depends on whether you're in B2C, B2B. It all depends on like your product and your industry. But we've really come to believe in effectiveness and efficiency and having, like Matt said, CX support be with product because they work so closely in hearing the demands of the customers and guiding the product roadmap, and then having sort of marketing and sales be one and the same within growth teams. So I think we might want to do a podcast about that one of these days, but sort of the structuring of those teams has been a really, really good learning experience for us. And I feel like we're finally at a place where it's super effective, and we're churning out really, really solid, feature releases are aligned with what the customers actually need and ask for. So, with that, looking into the future, we are essentially expanding / moving towards a new vertical, which we call enterprise. And essentially, what we're doing is taking many steps beyond just the tracking aspect of things. And, historically, you would have to have a bill tracking tool, maybe a lobbyist, and then those people would send reports and bills to the legal team in a company. And that legal team would then, or government relations team, would have to figure out, okay, what is it in these bills that will impact our company, our product, whatever it is, and what are we going to do about it, right? And this is all done manually. With the advancements in artificial intelligence, large language models, we can actually abstract, and fun fact, this is why we're called abstract, but we're actually able to abstract and make sense of what's a risk or an opportunity to the company without needing a bill tracking tool or a human to manually look at everything. So we can actually take in all the changes that are happening across any city, county, state, etc. And we're able to distill what is a risk or opportunity as it pertains to that particular company. And so now we're actually starting to sell to more of these government relations teams, legal teams in corporate. And this allows their lobbying firms to be more effective in lobbying because they can focus more on the relationships while abstract focuses on all the sort of analytical piece. So, as you think about AI doing a lot of this work, for our customer, do we even need a product? Why don't we just use chatbots? Like, what are your thoughts on like the need for you? I know your response, but people ask this a lot, so I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great question because the moment anyone says, "Oh, hey, your product uses AI," their mind immediately goes to, "Oh man, all of these AI companies are just sort of glorified GPT-4 wrappers or ChatGPT wrappers." And for a lot of things that are out there, that's probably true. But we really don't believe that as a product solution is what's effective. What we do is, with everything that we've learned from building the Abstract California platform, we understand there is a lot of insight and a lot of analysis that just takes way too much time to parse through. And so what we're able to do is use these open LLMs that are sort of available out there, and we can use that to build special tools that our enterprise product has access to. And so it's not powering our entire platform because a lot of the platform that we have is just being able to aggregate and provide you with that data. But what we are able to use with these LLMs is to provide specific analysis tools where you're able to understand and parse through data more quickly and more effectively. So now, as an end user for our enterprise platform, instead of having to read every single piece of data that comes in and every single bill and every single tweet and every single law or code that might affect your business, what you're able to do is just run that through our system. And what we can tell you is, hey, this is going to really impact you, or this isn't really going to impact you. And we'll give you a quick reason why. And then you can continue to ask questions about it, just like you would with any LLM. But then what you can do is do a lot more than that. You can redline, you can view that document, you can send that out, and you can collaborate internally within your teammates. We've also built out a bunch of really cool integrations with systems that our corporate and enterprise clients are currently using, so they don't have to learn an entirely new platform.
Yeah, and like, what I like to say is, like, imagine you're working in a company, like a corporate entity that is being regulated in a bunch of different states. Imagine a world where the power of what you see in ChatGPT in that like chat box, imagine that's applied to every single bill that comes out automatically for you, right? And that's sort of like the tech that we're building out. And the end value, like Matt said, is you can just sit there sipping your coffee each morning and see, as things change, what's actually a risk or an opportunity, and what's a high, medium, low sort of impact to your organization. And then from there, with a couple clicks, you can create a report, you can create red lines, draft a letter in opposition or support, and this will allow lobbyists to have more sort of bandwidth to support more clients and lobby more effectively, and allow on the corporate end to essentially be more effective in detecting things that are relevant for the company, and be more cost effective as a whole. So we're super excited about that. Last sort of question with all this, Matt, is where do you see AI sort of shaping this industry as we move forward? So I know we got super nitty gritty, but if we take a high level view, where do you see what's happening with AI shape government, legal tech, everything that we're sort of touching here?
Yeah, I'd love to answer this first applied to how our enterprise clients are going to use our platform, and then I think about the industry as a whole. With Abstract Enterprise, what we're seeing is analysts being able to do the work of 3 and or the work of 5 analysts. They're able to take all of this information and process it and understand and analyze it so quickly. And I think it's important to keep in mind that, at least for now, AI, LLMs, these are still machines, and these are still computers. And machines and computers cannot replicate the human connections that lobbyists and that some of our partners have with people in government or with their partners. And that's not going away anytime soon. But what we can do is we can help empower that and help analysts get through all of the busy work that they need to do. And a lot of that is just reading and understanding what's going to impact them. We can provide them with that knowledge, and they can go out there and be more effective in these conversations and be more effective in these meetings. So I think when you apply that to the AI industry as a whole, that's where I really see a lot of this trajectory moving towards. It's not going to, as some on Twitter or X like to say, it's not going to just take away a bunch of jobs that people are using to sort of negotiate and communicate and have this core need for human connection. What it's going to do is just empower them and make them more efficient and make them smarter. What AI can do is help these individuals make better decisions because they are better informed, because so much of the work that they do on an everyday basis can be done for them, so that when they go out into the world, they're 10 times smarter.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. And I think we're going to see a lot of this pan out in the next 5 to 10 years, but I think even just 5 years, things are going to look a lot more different than they look like now.
It's incredibly exciting.
Yeah, no, same here. So with that, really appreciate everything here, Matt. This was honestly, I've known you forever, but I love chatting with you on these topics. Is there anything else you want to impart with the audience? Anything regarding your product team or design principles?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a lot of these startup founders out there who are working on building their own platforms and building their own products, I think it's really important to keep in mind, and it's something that a lot of people don't think about, which is how you're going to support your customers. People on Twitter or on X love posting and talking about reaching what's known as PMF, or product market fit. And they talk about doing everything possible, whether that's on the sales end or product-led growth or on the engineering end, to reach product market fit. But I don't think anyone ever talks about supporting customers once you reach product market fit. That's an intense infrastructure that you need to build from day one, because when your support infrastructure and your support that you offer your customers is so incredibly good and so much better than your competitors, it can be a competitive advantage as its own. And customers, users, they love interacting with products that have great customer service. So that's something really important to keep in mind for all of the founders out there.
Yeah, and I would say just as important for small, medium-sized businesses as it is for multi-million-dollar enterprise deals. I feel
Absolutely.
like at the end, a customer is a customer, right? And if they're not happy, they churn. and that's the worst thing that could happen, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, no, this was great. If you want to reach out, if you're interested in design and product, or maybe you're interested in what we're doing here at Abstract, you can feel free to reach out to Matt over LinkedIn. We'll have more information in the bio below. But thank you again, Matt, for joining us for yet another podcast. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Talk to you later.
Cool. Thanks, Pat. Cheers.
Yeah.